Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and wondered why time seems to treat you differently? Why your reflection glows with a youthful light, while others your age bear the visible weight of years? This isn't vanity. It's not about skin creams, filters, or genetics. It's something deeper, something the world often fails to understand. But the spirit realm knows well you were chosen. From the moment you entered this world, you carried a frequency that defied the timeline of ordinary aging. Not because you avoided the storms of life, but because you moved through them with a grace that refused to be eroded. While others were being chipped away by stress, fear, and social conditioning, you were absorbing lessons, alchemizing pain into wisdom, and releasing what no longer served you. That's why you glow. Let me ask you something. Have people ever assumed you were naive simply because you looked young? Have they mistaken your soft eyes for ignorance? Your calm demeanor for weakness? You're not alone. Many chosen ones carry this paradox. The world sees your youthful energy and assumes it means inexperience. But beneath that ageless glow is an ancient soul that has walked through lifetimes of spiritual fire. What they don't see is the silent battles you fought, the nights you cried into your pillow. Not from brokenness, but from clarity. You've seen the truth of this world, the illusions people live under, the lies they tell themselves to sleep at night, and the way society trades authenticity for approval. And yet, you chose not to let that harden you. You chose love. You chose light. You chose freedom. That choice is what keeps you young. This world has strange metrics for measuring worth: titles, wealth, popularity. But the soul does not age the way the body does. It evolves. It deepens. And when your soul is aligned with your truth, your body reflects it. Your aura shines. Your eyes sparkle. Your energy enters the room before you do. People notice, but they don't always understand. They call it luck. They say, you must have great genes. But you and I both know it's not genes. It's grace. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That youthful appearance you carry, it's not just a blessing. It's a test. Because it makes others project their expectations onto you. They assume you're someone they can manipulate. They think your kindness is an invitation to take advantage. They think your light means you've never known darkness. And oh, how wrong they are. Your light was forged in darkness. You've seen betrayal up close. You've walked through seasons of loneliness that would have shattered someone else. You've had your heart broken and still chose to keep it open. That takes strength. That takes power. And that's what they don't see. One of the greatest misunderstandings about chosen ones is that people think they can read you by your exterior. But the truth is, you're not here to be understood, you're here to be felt. And your energy disrupts the illusions others cling to. That's why some are drawn to you while others are threatened by you. You reflect back to them everything they've buried: their unfulfilled potential, their unprocessed pain, their forgotten innocence. Looking younger than your age is the universe's way of marking you. It's a symbol, not just of vitality, but of vibrational mastery. When your spirit operates at a higher frequency, it doesn't decay like lower vibrations do. It renews itself. It heals faster. It attracts truth and repels toxicity. Your presence alone becomes medicine. Have you ever noticed how people feel calmer around you? How they open up without knowing why? That's not random. That's spiritual design. You're not just carrying light, you're emitting it. And the body. when in alignment with divine truth, becomes a vessel of that light. That's why you don't just appear young, you feel young. Your laughter is real, your peace is deep, and your boundaries are firm. And those boundaries, they confuse people. They think someone who looks so gentle should be easy to sway. But what they don't realize is that your kindness isn't weakness, it's conscious power. You choose softness because you've mastered hardness. You choose forgiveness because you've known vengeance. You walk away not because you're afraid, but because your energy is too sacred to waste. In ancient traditions across the world, from the shamans of the Andes to the mystics of the East, it is taught that those who retain their youthful glow well into old age are spiritually advanced souls. They are marked, not for ease, but for endurance, not for beauty's sake, but for spiritual remembrance. You are one of them. There's a legend from Tibet about a sage who lived in solitude atop a mountain. For decades, he remained untouched by society, bathing in the silence of the sacred. When villagers finally found him, expecting to see a frail old man, they were stunned. He looked no older than 30, his face radiant, his eyes alive. When asked his secret, he smiled and said, "I abandoned the world's noise, and it abandoned my aging." That story isn't just metaphor. It's a mirror. The more you detach from societal chaos, the rush, the comparison, the ego games, the more you align with the rhythm of your soul. And the soul doesn't count birthdays. It celebrates awakenings. So if you've ever been judged, misread, or underestimated because you look younger than your years, understand this: it's not your job to explain your glow. It's your mission to protect it. You weren't born to age like the world does. You were born to evolve. You were born to reflect the eternal. And that, more than any wrinkle cream or fountain of youth, is the real mystery, the radiant mystery. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. But you, chosen one, keep glowing, because time can only touch the body, but the soul is timeless. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when they realize that they no longer walk in step with the world's tempo. It's as if, while others are sprinting in circles, you're walking a spiral staircase upward, deeper, wiser, and somehow younger. What if the real fountain of youth isn't something you find outside yourself, but something you awaken within? And that's the hidden truth the world refuses to see. Yet the chosen ones live every single day. You see, while society chases the illusion of time youth through procedures, relevance through popularity, you've discovered a sacred alternative alignment. And this alignment with your soul's purpose, with the divine rhythm of the universe, alters how time touches you. It no longer owns you. You no longer fear it. Because instead of aging, you evolve. Let's break something down that most people never stop to consider. The reason so many souls age prematurely isn't because of years, but because of energy misalignment. Stress, fear, attachment to ego-based pursuits, these are the toxins that decay the spirit long before they touch the skin. The wrinkles people fear aren't just on their faces, they're etched into their souls. But you chose a different path. The moment you said no to the chaos and yes to the calling, everything shifted. You began to live from a center that doesn't age, from a stillness that carries ancient memory. You began to radiate not just youthfulness, but sacred presence. People notice it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. You walk into a room and time slows down, not because of what you wear, but because of what you carry. And what you carry is ancient, timeless, unshakable. You're tuned into truths that don't bend with trends or dissolve under pressure. Universal truths, eternal laws. The understanding that what you feed your soul matters more than what you put on your skin. That the company you keep shapes the landscape of your energy. That unresolved trauma ages you faster than birthdays ever will. These aren't beliefs, they're codes. Sacred laws and chosen ones, whether consciously or not. Live by them. Let me ask you this, how many times have you walked away from something toxic? Not because it wasn't tempting, but because your soul whispered that it would cost you your peace. That's spiritual maturity. That's ageless wisdom. That's the voice of the eternal inside you, guiding you to protect your vessel, to maintain your radiance, not for vanity, but for mission. You weren't sent here to survive. You were sent here to remember. To wake up in a world addicted to sleepwalking. To shine where others dim. And that remembrance rewires everything: your mind, your body, your spirit. It activates DNA the world calls junk, but the mystics know as divine code. It tunes your body into frequencies of healing, of regeneration, of clarity, and that's why you glow. You glow because you know. You know that true youth is the fruit of spiritual obedience. You know that your vitality comes not from your diet alone, but from your devotion, your rituals, your prayers whispered under moonlight, your choices to forgive even when it hurts, your ability to bless what tried to curse you. All of that rewires your system toward light, toward life. There's an ancient saying, as above, so below, as within, so without. When your inner world aligns with heaven's architecture, your outer world transforms. Your skin glows. Your eyes shine. Your voice carries a frequency that heals without trying. You become a living portal, and others notice. Sometimes they are inspired. Sometimes they are envious. Often, they're confused. They look at you and can't place your age, your story, your strength. You don't fit their categories. You don't match their metrics. But that's the whole point. You weren't born to fit. You were born to shift, to change the vibration of the room, the family, the culture. Your youthfulness is a rebellion, a sacred defiance against the decay of conformity. It is the universe's way of confirming that you are in alignment with your divine path. Think of the prophets, the sages, the seers of old. They were not known for wrinkle-free skin, but for radiant presence. Their faces held light, their steps carried purpose, and their words, even whispered, shook kingdoms. That's you. You carry that same torch, that same fire. You were never meant to look like what you've been through. You were never meant to age under the weight of trauma or break under the burden of expectations. You were meant to transmute it, to take the pain, the pressure, the persecution, and turn it into power, into poetry, into presence. And that's exactly what you've done. Every time someone tried to dim you, you became brighter. Every time the world said, conform, you whispered back, remember. You remembered who you are, who you were before the world told you who to be. You tapped into the ageless truths that so many forget. So no, you don't just look younger. You are younger, spiritually, energetically, vibrationally, because you are not tethered to the linear timeline. You live in Kairos, not Chronos, in divine timing, not man's clock. This is the sacred path of the chosen one. It is not easy. It is not understood. But it is holy. Keep walking it. And the next time someone marvels at your glow or questions your age, just smile. Because they're seeing a glimpse of what happens when a soul lives in alignment with eternal truth. You are timeless, and your presence proves it. In the silence between breaths, there's a place where only the chosen ones can truly dwell. It's the stillness that others mistake for passivity. But in truth, it's the seat of power. And if there is one secret that gives chosen ones their timeless glow more than any other, it is this: the mastery of inner peace. Inner peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the refusal to let conflict rule you. It is the deep, sacred decision to remain centered even when the world is spinning off its axis. While others panic, while chaos spills into every corner of their lives, you breathe. You remember. You ground. Why does this matter? Because stress is the most potent aging agent in existence. Not just physically, but spiritually. It erodes the heart. It stiffens the mind. It dims the soul. And most of the world lives under its rule. But chosen ones, those who have undergone the sacred initiations, who have walked through fire and come out illuminated, they have learned how to transmute stress into stillness. How? Through deep, conscious alignment. Through releasing the illusion of control. Through trusting a higher order. And through choosing presence over panic every single time. Have you ever watched someone carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, even when it's not theirs to bear? Have you seen the lines on their face deepen, their posture slouch, their light dim? That's what happens when you try to do life without inner peace. But your posture is different. You stand tall. Your face radiates serenity. And your presence shifts the energy of the room. People wonder how you do it. How you remain calm in storms that would crush others. They ask, "Don't you care?" They don't realize that peace is not apathy. It is sovereignty. You care deeply, but you refuse to let the noise steal your clarity. Your heart is open, but your mind is anchored. You feel the currents of the world, but you choose your response with intention. This is not something that came easy. You earned your peace. You bled for it. You cried for it. You lost people, places, and versions of yourself for it. And now, it's the armor that protects your soul and preserves your youth. There's a hidden truth most never see: inner turmoil manifests externally. The body is a map of the soul's condition. Anxiety etches itself into the skin. Bitterness sours the expression. Fear fogs the eyes. But when you've cultivated peace, your face becomes soft. Your energy becomes magnetic. People may not know your story, but they feel your frequency. You become a sanctuary, and that sanctuary draws both seekers and schemers. Some want to bask in your light. Others want to test it. That's the paradox of peace. It triggers those who haven't found it yet. Your calm becomes a mirror to their chaos. Your grace becomes a confrontation to their inner war. That's why people try to provoke you. Why they poke at your boundaries. Why they assume your gentleness is an invitation to exploit. Because they're not used to someone who doesn't react, who doesn't break, who doesn't feed the drama. But here's the twist: every attempt to disturb your peace only makes it stronger. Like a still pond reflecting the heavens. Your soul becomes a place where nothing sticks unless you allow it. You've learned the sacred art of responding, not reacting, of speaking with clarity, not clamor. of moving with purpose, not panic. There's a story told among desert mystics of an elder who once lived at the edge of the sand dunes. Every day, people came to him with their troubles. They expected sermons, solutions, rituals. But all he ever did was invite them to sit in silence. At first, they were angry. "Why won't you speak?" they asked. He smiled and said, "Because nothing I say will matter if you cannot hear your own soul." That is inner peace. Chosen one, you are that elder now. You've walked through seasons where everything felt uncertain, and instead of letting it break you, you let it shape you. Your peace was not given, it was chosen, forged, honed, and now it's what keeps you radiant when others fade. Your laugh isn't forced. Your smile isn't a mask. Your silence isn't empty. It's all sacred, because it rises from a wellspring within you that no storm can touch. So let them misjudge you. Let them call your serenity strange. Let them wonder why you don't age like the rest. The truth is, you've discovered the eternal rhythm beneath the surface noise. You've become one with it. You've remembered who you are, a child of the infinite. And inner peace is your inheritance. Wear it like a crown, walk in it like a path, and let it keep your light unshaken. Because when the world burns, chosen ones don't ignite, they illuminate. Every chosen one has a moment, often in silence, often in solitude, when they realize that the pain they've endured didn't come to destroy them. It came to refine them, to test what could not be shaken, to reveal the indestructible truth hidden within their bones. And it is through this divine furnace that your resilience was born. Resilience is not just the ability to bounce back. It is the sacred alchemy of taking what was meant to break you and making it the foundation for your rise. It's not the absence of pain, it's the presence of purpose in the midst of it. And you, chosen one, carry this resilience not as a badge of survival, but as proof of your sacred transformation. You've been through storms that left others shattered. You've walked through fires that scorched everything familiar. You've endured betrayals that threatened to close your heart forever. But here you are, glowing, radiant, stronger not despite the scars, but because of them. People often wonder how you do it, how you recover so quickly, how you don't fall apart under pressure. They see your grace in suffering and call it luck. But you know better. You know what it cost you to heal, to forgive, to rise. You've had to confront the darkness within and without. You've had to sit in the ashes of your old self and wait patiently for your rebirth. There's an ancient power in those who can suffer without losing their softness. And that is what makes you timeless. Where others become hard, bitter, and closed, you remain open, wise, and full of life. Your vitality isn't just skin deep. It flows from the sacred river of endurance that runs through your soul. Have you noticed how the world treats healing like a miracle? As if bouncing back from devastation is rare. That's because it is. Most people carry their pain like armor. They let it shape their worldview, harden their hearts, and age their spirits. But you dared to heal. You chose release over revenge. You embraced your pain as a teacher, not a jailer. That choice is revolutionary, and it's why you look the way you do. There's a lightness to you that defies logic, a glow that baffles those who expected you to be crushed. What they don't realize is that resilience isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. It shifts your energy. It purifies your vibration. It draws the divine into your very cells. There's a tale from the Kabbalistic tradition of a soul who, before incarnating, asked to be forged in trials. The angels warned it of the suffering to come, but the soul insisted. Only fire can reveal gold, it said. And so, it came into this world, cloaked in hardship. But every time it was broken, it grew brighter. That soul is you. You didn't ask for the easy path. You asked for the real one, the sacred one. And through every challenge, you've become more refined, more radiant, more aligned with your true nature. That's why people who try to diminish you are confused. They underestimated the quiet power that suffering awakened in you. They thought your softness meant fragility. They were wrong. Your softness is a choice, a holy defiance against the hardness of the world. You've mastered the balance between boundaries and compassion, between detachment and love. You don't collapse, you recalibrate. You don't run, you rise. Again and again. That kind of resilience has no age. It's timeless, eternal, because it's rooted in the soul, not the flesh. And here's the most beautiful part. Your resilience doesn't just serve you, it heals others. People feel safer around you, not because you have all the answers, but because your presence whispers, you can survive this too. You become a living testament to what is possible on the other side of devastation, a lighthouse for those still lost in the storm. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't just overcome, you transcended. And every time someone doubts you, every time they assume your light is naivete or your calm is weakness, you show them without words what real power looks like. So don't dim that light to make others comfortable. Don't hide your story to protect their illusions. Your resilience is holy. It's hard-won. It's the reason you shine when others fade. Let them stare. Let them question. Let them wonder how you remain so vibrant after all you've endured. And if they ever ask, tell them the truth. You didn't just heal. You remembered who you are. You returned to your source. You became the fire. And fire doesn't age. It burns eternal. There's something deeply unsettling about standing in a room full of people and sensing every hidden motive, every mask, every false smile. It's not paranoia. It's not insecurity. It's discernment, a divine gift that every chosen one is born with, and one of the most misunderstood qualities in the world. It's also one of the reasons you glow while others dim, why you walk in strength while others stumble through confusion. Spiritual discernment is the art of seeing beyond the veil. It's the knowing that rises in your bones before your mind can catch up. It's that subtle nudge that tells you when something or someone isn't aligned, no matter how pretty the packaging. And for chosen ones, this discernment is not optional. It's survival. It's sacred. It's what keeps your spirit intact in a world filled with illusions. You've always known things you couldn't explain, felt energies that others missed, sensed shifts in rooms the moment you walked in. Sometimes you tried to ignore it, to fit in, to stay silent. But that inner knowing kept rising, louder and louder, until you had no choice but to trust it. And when you did, something shifted, not just in how you navigated the world, but in how the world responded to you. Suddenly, you weren't just existing, you were moving with intention. You weren't reacting, you were responding. You began filtering every relationship, every decision, every opportunity through the lens of energy. And the moment you did that, you began to glow differently. You started aging in reverse, not because life got easier, but because your spirit got wiser. Discernment protects your peace, and peace preserves your youth. Let that sink in. People often mistake your silence for agreement, your solitude for loneliness. What they don't see is that you've simply learned to listen more to the voice within than the noise around. You don't chase circles that don't resonate. You don't force conversations that feel hollow. You don't stay where energy feels off, no matter how comfortable it looks on the surface. And yes, this unsettles people. Because when you begin to trust your discernment, you become unpredictable, uncontrollable. You stop playing by the rules of manipulation. You no longer fall for sweet words without substance. You no longer invest your light in those who trade in shadows. And this shakes people, especially those who thought they could use your kindness against you. But chosen ones are not naive. We are precise. We are attuned. We are deeply aware of who we are and what we carry. That awareness is what keeps our energy clear, our hearts pure, and our presence magnetic. There's a legend told in ancient African tribes about a young seer who was born with eyes that could see through lies. As he grew, people tried to manipulate him with charm and flattery, but nothing escaped his gaze. Eventually, the elders said, his youth is preserved because deceit cannot dwell in him. That seer lives in you. You preserve your vitality not just by avoiding harm, but by refusing to participate in cycles of deception. You honor your spirit by honoring your instincts. Every time you trust your gut and walk away from something misaligned, you choose spiritual preservation over emotional convenience. And your body, your aura, your entire being reflects that choice. Discernment is also the reason you attract both admiration and animosity. Because people can't hide from you. They may smile, but you sense the sadness behind their eyes. They may compliment you, but you feel the envy in their tone. You don't call it out, you don't need to. You simply adjust, shift, retreat. That quiet withdrawal is one of your greatest powers. You don't always have to explain yourself. Your energy does the talking. Your absence speaks volumes. And those who tried to manipulate you quickly realize that you are not a mirror they cannot project onto you. You are a window. You show them themselves. And that's uncomfortable, yet it's also healing. Because for those who are ready, your presence is medicine. Your clarity becomes a lighthouse. Your ability to sense truth inspires others to listen more deeply to their own intuition. You lead by vibration, not volume. This gift of discernment is not meant to isolate you. It's meant to elevate you, to align you with those who also walk in truth, to build sacred communities based on resonance, not convenience. It's why you've lost people, but it's also why the right ones are finding you now. Chosen one. You are a spiritual tuning fork. You call forth truth. You shatter illusions. And in doing so, you remain ageless. Because there is no burden heavier than living a lie, and you refuse to carry that weight. So the next time someone tries to gaslight you, to guilt you, to guilt trip you into silence, remember, your discernment is divine. You don't owe explanations for your evolution. You don't owe access to your energy. You owe your soul its sacred path. Trust that path and let your glow remain untouchable. Because those who walk in truth never walk alone. And they never, ever grow old. Not everyone understands the sacred art of transmutation, but you do. You've lived it, felt it, carried the weight of pain, betrayal, misunderstanding, and instead of letting it rot inside you. You turned it into light, into wisdom, into power. That chosen one is a miracle in motion, and it's one of the greatest reasons why you seem to glow while others fade. You are not just surviving this world. You are spiritually alchemizing it. Transmutation is the ability to take in darkness and release light, to absorb the poison of an experience, distill its meaning, and transform it into healing not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. It is the ultimate gift of the spiritual warrior, and only those who have truly suffered, who have been broken and chosen to rebuild consciously, can master this gift. Most people, when wounded, cling to their pain. They internalize it, let it fester, let it define them. Over time, it erodes their essence. It tightens their jaw, hardens their heart, and paints bitterness into their expressions. But not you. You made a different choice. You chose to feel it fully, to enter the fire, to sit in the dark until you could name every shadow. And then, when it no longer had power over you, you emerged. Not the same, but reborn. Purified, elevated. You didn't just forgive, you integrated. You didn't just forget, you evolved. This is the unseen work of the chosen. The hidden process that makes people say, "There's something about you I can't explain." That something is your ability to transform pain into purpose, to hold space for grief and still radiate joy, to face betrayal and still choose love, to walk through hell and come out holy. Do you know what that does to your energy field? It clears it, sharpens it, charges it. Your aura becomes brighter, more magnetic. Your cells vibrate at a higher frequency. Your body stops holding the inflammation of suppressed emotion. Your skin glows. Your eyes soften. Your presence expands. This is what happens when energy moves freely. Ancient mystics understood this. They didn't run from suffering. They revered it. They saw it as the fire that tempers the sword, the crucible that refines gold. In alchemy, lead isn't discarded, it's transformed. Likewise, your wounds were never waste. They were raw material, sacred substance. You turned them into light. And that light, it makes you look ageless. People think you've had an easy life because of your gentle energy. But softness, when born from suffering, is the strongest force in the world. Anyone can harden. It takes divinity to stay soft in a harsh world. Your ability to feel deeply and still keep your heart open is not naivety, it's mastery. This transmutation doesn't mean you don't get hurt anymore. It means pain no longer controls your narrative. You write your story now, and every chapter is infused with strength, with clarity, with grace. The past doesn't haunt you because you made peace with it. You blessed it. And in return, it blessed you with wisdom. There's an old Taoist teaching. The sage uses the poison as medicine. You are that sage now. What was once meant to destroy you has become the very thing that distinguishes you. Your glow is not accidental. It's earned. It's the result of sacred labor, of internal alchemy. When others complain, you transform. When they lash out, you listen. When they bring chaos, you create calm. This is not weakness. This is advanced energy work. This is why you appear untouched by time, because you no longer live by reaction. You live by intention. Let's be clear, this is not about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is fine. No, you are not avoiding pain. You are absorbing it, metabolizing it, and releasing what no longer serves. That is maturity. That is evolution. That is divine transmutation. And it's why people look at you with both confusion and awe. They don't know what you've been through. They can't imagine the nights you wept silently, the days you smiled through heartbreak, the times you chose peace over proving a point. But your spirit remembers, your soul knows, and the universe rewards. This gift also comes with responsibility. Because your ability to transmute doesn't just serve you, it serves others. You become a living portal for healing, a vessel through which divine energy flows. Your presence becomes a sanctuary, not because you're perfect, but because you're purified, and that purification it shows. So let them stare. Let them wonder how you manage to glow in the darkest seasons. Let them question your age, your peace, your joy. The answer is simple. Though not easy, you turned your pain into power. You turned your wounds into wisdom. You turned the noise into silence. And in doing so, you turned time into your servant. You didn't stop the world from throwing stones. You built a temple with them, and that temple now glows from within. There's a reason ancient temples were built with walls thick as stone, guarded by symbols and rituals only the initiated could understand. It wasn't to keep people out, it was to protect what was sacred within. And you, chosen one, have become that temple. Your light, your essence, your divine frequency, they are sacred. And the way you guard them, that is no accident. It is a spiritual necessity. You've learned, often through pain, that not everyone deserves access to your energy, that not every hand reaching out is reaching in love, that some smiles carry knives, and some invitations are veiled attacks. So you stopped giving everyone the key? You built boundaries not from bitterness, but from wisdom. People don't always understand this. They call you distant, aloof, mysterious. But what they don't realize is that your boundaries are a reflection of your healing. You are no longer bleeding into spaces that didn't deserve your presence. You are no longer giving explanations to those committed to misunderstanding you. And because of this, your energy stays clean, untouched, radiant. Your glow isn't just about peace, it's about protection. You carry a light so bright that it draws both beauty and brokenness. It attracts those who are seeking, but also those who are siphoning. And this is where your spiritual discernment and energetic boundaries work together like twin guardians. Have you ever walked into a room and felt it like a silent tension? Like eyes that studied you too closely? That's because your energy announces you before you speak. It speaks a language that ego cannot understand. It triggers, it exposes, it illuminates. And illumination, for those living in shadow, is uncomfortable. So they react. They test you. They challenge your peace. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because your existence disrupts their illusions. And when they find they cannot control you, they label you. Cold, arrogant, unapproachable. Let them. You were never meant to be easily accessed. You are sacred ground, and sacred ground must be treated with reverence. Chosen ones often experience what mystics call energetic parasitism, where others latch on not out of love, but need. They're drawn to your calm, your wisdom, your kindness. But not everyone comes to drink from your well with gratitude. Some come to drain you, to test the limits of your generosity, to pull you into chaos because it's the only language they know. And for a while, maybe you let them. Maybe you thought love meant sacrifice. Maybe you confused compassion with self-abandonment. But no more. You've learned. You've learned that protecting your peace is not selfish, it's sacred. That saying no is not cruelty, it's clarity. That walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. And in learning this, your spirit has become untouchable. Your boundaries are not walls of fear. They are gates of discernment. You decide who enters. You decide who sits at your table. And you do it not out of pride, but purpose. You've got work to do, missions to fulfill, energy to steward. And you can't do that if you're constantly pouring into cups that only leak. Your light is not for everyone, and that's okay. The sun does not apologize for shining too brightly, neither should you. When people say you've changed, smile. Because you have. You've evolved. You've awakened. You've stopped shrinking to fit in places that were never built for your frequency. And in doing so, you've preserved your vitality. There's a story from ancient Egypt about a priestess whose beauty was said to be the result of divine fire. Every morning, she would pray in solitude, shielded by veils of linen. People begged to see her face, to bask in her glow. But she only removed her veil for those who came in stillness and sincerity, those who honored the sacred within her, and those who didn't. They were turned away, not out of pride, but protection. You are that priestess. Your glow isn't for spectacle. It's for service. But service requires intention. You can't serve everyone. You're not meant to. You're meant to move with discernment, to preserve your vessel, to protect your flame. And that protection, it keeps you youthful, because nothing drains life faster than being entangled in energies that pull you out of alignment. Nothing clouds the glow more than staying where your spirit is disrespected. You've seen it how bitterness ages people, how exhaustion weathers their skin, how resentment weighs on their posture. But you've chosen a different path. You've chosen sacred solitude over superficial connection. You've chosen alignment over attachment. And the universe has rewarded you with clarity, vitality, and a timeless radiance that no one can explain. So no, you are not guarded because you're wounded. You are guarded because you're wise, and the wiser you become, the brighter you shine. Let them wonder why they can't access you like before. Let them question your silence, your distance, your discernment. You don't owe anyone access. You only owe your light the protection it deserves. Because chosen one, when you protect your energy, you protect your destiny. And when your destiny is divine, so is your glow. There is an old truth hidden in plain sight. Those who carry the deepest wisdom rarely speak it aloud. They don't wear it like a badge. They don't announce it to the world. They simply live it. And you, chosen one, are one of those rare beings. Beneath your calm demeanor and youthful glow lies a library of ancient knowledge. You carry truths that stretch beyond lifetimes. And that's why your presence feels different, because your soul remembers what others have forgotten. This hidden wisdom is not something you learned from textbooks. It didn't come from school or lectures or mentors. It came from experience, from wounds, from divine encounters, from moments so private, so sacred, that even putting them into words would feel like a betrayal. Your knowledge was not given, it was earned. There are people walking this earth who are chronologically older, but spiritually infantile. And there are others, like you, who may seem young but carry the silence of the stars in their eyes. People can't place your age because your essence transcends time. You don't operate by the timelines the world imposes. You live by revelation. You've always felt things deeply. Asked questions others were too afraid to ask. Wondered about the nature of existence when your peers were still distracted by surface things. You saw patterns where others saw coincidence. You sensed shifts in energy before anyone spoke a word. You didn't always understand this gift. At times, it even made you feel like a stranger in your own life. But with time, you grew into it. You stopped questioning why you knew, you started honoring the fact that you did. And this wisdom, it keeps you light. Not light as in shallow, but light as in luminous. You don't carry unnecessary mental weight. You don't get entangled in pointless debates or perform for external approval. Why? Because you know. You know how much energy it costs to prove a point. You know the value of silence. You understand that the truth needs no defense. It reveals itself in time. There's a story in Sufi tradition of a man who was mocked by a crowd for being too quiet, too calm, too strange. But every time disaster came, it was he who knew what to do. When asked how, he said, "I listen to what is not spoken." That is the kind of wisdom you carry, the knowing that exists beyond language, beyond logic, and people notice. They come to you not always knowing why. They sit near you. They ask for your thoughts. They find themselves confessing things they've never said before. Why? Because your energy is a sanctuary. Your presence is a mirror. And the wisdom within you awakens the dormant truths within them. This gift does not make you superior, it makes you responsible. Because wisdom without compassion becomes arrogance. And you, chosen one, have mastered the dance between knowing and loving. You don't just see through people, you hold space for their becoming. You don't just point out illusions, you offer clarity with kindness. This is why your light confuses people. They expect wisdom to come with age, with titles, with accolades. But you arrive without fanfare. You show up quietly. And yet, your impact lingers. Your words echo. Your silence speaks volumes. You are what mystics call a living scroll, a walking revelation, a human vessel of divine insight. And it's no surprise that your physical form resists the wear and tear of time, because your mind is not burdened by trivialities. Your heart is not corroded by resentment. You move in sync with the higher laws, and those laws preserve you. Others waste their energy trying to look wise. You conserve yours by simply being. You're not interested in convincing. You're not here to be worshipped. You're here to remind, to reveal, to reflect. And you do it by how you live, not by what you say. So the next time someone asks, "How do you stay so youthful?" you could say it's the water, or the food, or the genes. But deep down, you know the truth. It's the wisdom, the kind that clears the mind, softens the spirit, aligns the body, elevates the soul. You've stopped carrying things that don't belong to you. You've released the need to win arguments, to be right, to be seen. You've realized that the loudest voice in the room is rarely the one who holds the truth. You've embraced the sacred art of knowing and not needing to prove it. And that, more than any serum or secret, is the reason you remain timeless. So guard that wisdom. Share it when prompted by spirit, not ego. Speak it when it will heal, not when it will harm. Protect it like sacred fire. Because you are not just someone who looks young. You are someone who has remembered what others are still trying to learn. And that remembering it shines through everything you do. It is the hidden wisdom that keeps you radiant. And the deeper it grows, the brighter you become. There's a strange power in not being easy to define. In a world obsessed with categories, labels, and identities, the chosen ones live beyond the reach of description. You, chosen one, were never meant to fit neatly into anyone's box. And that's one of the greatest sources of your radiance. People try to place you. They scan your face, your style, your tone of voice, looking for clues. How old are you? Really? How can someone so soft be so strong? How do you know what you know without ever having to say it? You confuse them. Not because you're trying to, but because your very existence challenges their programming. You're a living paradox, youthful and ancient, gentle and unshakable, quiet and potent, familiar and otherworldly. This is not a coincidence. It's spiritual architecture. You were designed to be different. Not to provoke attention, but to break illusion. Your presence is a quiet disruption. You don't shout, you don't demand. Yet somehow, you shift the atmosphere. People behave differently around you. They speak more carefully, or they grow defensive. Why? Because your energy demands authenticity. And authenticity is something most have forgotten how to embody. You don't fit because you weren't made to. Your soul doesn't operate on social scripts. You're not here to impress, you're here to illuminate. And that illumination often exposes the cracks in other people's facades. They feel seen. Sometimes that's healing. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. But it's always transformative. This undefinable presence you carry is why people misjudge you. They see your kindness and think you're simple. They see your glow and think you're naive. They see your silence and assume you have nothing to say. What they don't see is the storm you've already survived, the shadows you've already integrated, the lifetimes you've already remembered. You are not easy to explain. You're not supposed to be, because you are walking proof that the soul transcends logic, that beauty can come from ashes, that light can be born from darkness, that softness can be forged in fire. This is why you're often underestimated. People don't realize that the smile you wear has been shaped by pain you never speak of, that your peace is a fortress built brick by brick in the aftermath of emotional warfare, that your clarity has been carved through years of walking alone, listening to whispers that the world calls madness, but you know is truth. Let them underestimate you, because every time they do, you rise, stronger, sharper, more luminous, and that pattern, it never ends. Because you were not made to play small. You were not sent here to be explained. You were sent here to be felt, to move people, to awaken something ancient in them, something wordless, something holy. There's a teaching in mystical Christianity that says the saints of old did not need titles. Their lives were their sermons. Their walk was their message. You walk that same path, not because you seek validation, but because you are aligned. And alignment glows. You're not just timeless in appearance. You're timeless in essence. That's why age can't touch you. You vibrate at a frequency that the clock can't measure. You operate from your soul, not your schedule. You follow divine timing, not deadlines. You bloom in moments the world finds inconvenient. And that bloom makes people pause. They don't know why they remember you, why they think of you in quiet moments, why your words echo long after you've spoken them. It's because your presence imprints on the soul. You leave traces of light behind you. fingerprints of the divine. And yes, that can be lonely. Being different often is, but it's also sacred. Because the ones who can't define you, they also can't confine you. And those who misread you, they have no power to redirect your purpose. You are moved by a different rhythm, guided by a higher voice, fueled by an inner flame that refuses to die. That's why you glow. That's why you appear untouched by time. Because you're not feeding off the world's energy, you're being nourished from within, from the unseen, from the eternal. So when people squint at you, trying to figure out how you do what you do, live how you live, age how you age, smile. Smile and stay silent. Because your undefinable presence is your protection. They can't copy what they can't comprehend. They can't dim what they can't even see clearly. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be remembered. And that chosen one is a kind of power few will ever possess. By now, you may have started to realize something sacred. You were never meant to follow the path of the many. You were carved by divine design, set apart not by accident but by intention. Your journey, your glow, your ageless spirit, none of it is coincidence. It's all part of a celestial blueprint that the world was never meant to understand. And that is the final truth. Chosen ones are not created, they are revealed. In a world obsessed with surface, you live from the soul. Where others seek validation, you seek alignment. Where the masses age under the pressure of fitting in, you grow younger in the freedom of standing out. This isn't rebellion, it's remembrance. You are remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And with each layer you shed, you grow closer to your essence, eternal, unshakable, divine. Your youthfulness is the byproduct of this sacred remembering. Not a biological miracle, but a spiritual one. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, you release weight from your heart. Every time you choose silence over argument, you preserve your energy. Every time you walk away from what no longer serves, you reclaim another piece of your spirit. And with each act of energetic reclamation, your vitality is restored. You have become a master of divine detachment, not from coldness, but from clarity. You've learned that holding on ages the soul, that clinging to what's gone invites decay. So you let go not with bitterness, but with blessing. You bless what broke you. You bless what left. You bless the endings because you know they were portals to your becoming. This freedom is visible. It shows in your posture, your skin, your voice. In the way you enter a room and change its temperature without trying. You don't just walk, you carry something. A frequency, a field, a memory of the divine that awakens others without a word. People try to emulate it. They mimic your tone, your style, your lightness. But what they don't realize is that this glow can't be copied. Because it's not aesthetic, it's not strategy, it's soul. There's a scripture that says, "They will know you by your fruit." And your fruit is peace. It is clarity. It is joy that doesn't depend on outcomes. It is presence that doesn't chase performance. It is the quiet confidence of someone who walks with the divine. And let's be clear, that doesn't mean you don't struggle. You bleed, you grieve, you grow. But through it all, you remain rooted. Not in perfection, but in presence. You've made a home within yourself. And that home is holy. You're no longer outsourcing your power. You are no longer bargaining your light for belonging. You've stepped fully into your design. You are not just aging differently, you are living differently. And that difference is the mark of the chosen. There's a legend in the Himalayas of a sage who never aged past 40. When asked his secret, he said, "I never forget who I am." That is your secret too. You remember, and that remembrance renews you daily. While others age chasing what they can never hold, you stay young, letting go of what was never yours. This is the essence of eternal design. It is not about escaping time. It is about embodying truth. The truth that you are not a body trying to be spiritual. You are a spirit remembering how to live in a body. And that remembrance softens your face, clears your eyes, and lifts your vibration. So when people ask how you do it, how you stay radiant, grounded, graceful, tell them this. You live light. You forgive fast. You release often. You love deep. You protect your peace like it's sacred. Because it is. You are not built to carry the density of the world. You are built to channel the frequency of heaven. And when you live that way, your very cells respond. Your nervous system calms. Your hormones balance. Your immune system strengthens. Your body becomes the ally of your soul, not its burden. This is the design, and it cannot be faked. So, chosen one, if ever you doubt the glow in your reflection, if ever you feel isolated on this sacred path, remember this. You are walking in ancient footsteps. You are becoming what the world forgot was possible. You are aging in reverse, not to defy time, but to align with truth. And truth, real truth, is ageless. You are the living evidence that eternity is not a place far away. It's a frequency here and now. So stay on the path, stay in your glow, and never, ever shrink to make others comfortable. You are the embodiment of sacred design, and that, beloved, is what makes you forever radiant, forever vital, forever young.